to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light. Yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from here, and this has been like a therapy session.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm delighted to be joined by, well, someone I've not spoke to for a very long time, Mr. Johnny Nelson. How are you, Johnny?
I'm good, thank you. I've just got in from London. I'm starving. I can saltfish, some boiled dumplings. Ooh, baby, baby. So I'm going to eat while we're doing this. I know it's rude, but I apologise, but I'm hungry.
You eat,
You're
mate.
showing I can do two things at the same time.
No, go on, you eat. I've only waited for you for like 9 hours, but it's cool. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Where have you been? Where have you been?
I've been around. I was in Newcastle last week, O'Hara, Davies and Ritson. I've been around. Just, yeah. I think the last time I saw you was probably Smith Eubank week. No, I saw you in the Mayweather week.
Mayweather week. Wow.
Mayweather week. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, listen, let's jump straight into it. Look, I've got to ask you, have you watched Conor Benn's interview with Piers Morgan last night, which has obviously taken up a lot of the comments and headlines?
Yeah, I have, yeah. I've said to you before,
Go on.
I've said to you before, and I've said to many people, it's very hard to sit on the fence with this, and I think people want to sit on the fence because Conor Benn, they have a soft spot for Conor. I've got a soft spot for Conor. Conor's in a position now where he's failed a drug test, not one but two drug tests. So you can only go with fact, and that's what it's all about. So everything that's happened, everything that's gone through the British Boxing Board of Control have said, look, this is fact. The WBC or the WBA have said, look, you can box under our. It's a sanctioning body.
WBC,
yeah, WBC. You can. They've sanctioned him to fight. What do I make of the interview? I wasn't convinced of anything by the fact that there was an illegal substance found in his system. So what it was something enough, and I think Piers Morgan. I've seen Piers Morgan rip people to shreds, and actually Piers was pretty kind to Conor, and he could have really gone on him, but it's just how it is. And it's a case of Conor's just. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have done it. I just want to done the interview point blank, unless you had something substantial to say. It's this. I wouldn't have done it because it was bordering on Prince Andrew all over again, man. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, come on, Conor. And it was just, it's just hard. It's just a hard situation.
Listen, we know what we've seen, like I said, in regards to what Conor has put on his social media, what we heard in Piers Morgan's interview yesterday. So let's kind of just stick to what we know from that.
It's a fact, yeah.
Yeah. So look, Piers Morgan's repetitive question yesterday was, why don't you hand the 270-page dossier, which apparently would prove Conor Benn's innocence with kind of scientific facts and etc., whatever's in this 270-page document. But he's asking, and he asked Conor Benn maybe about 4 or 5 times during that interview of why he's not giving that over to the board. Now, Conor's obviously got a situation with the board. He mentioned about misconduct charges against him. He alluded to the fact, something we already knew from previous reports, that he's apparently going to sue the board, right? But what did you think about that question, and what did you think about the way Conor Benn answered that question? Almost like
he didn't answer the question. He didn't answer the question. And that's the problem. That's where the problem lies. Everybody and anybody that watched that hoped Conor Benn would be able to actually say, right, this is the fight. Nobody was any the wiser, and nobody was any the wiser after that interview and that alone, because he kept swerving a direct answer and coming out with the fact that, you know, why should I? The thing is, if you've got something to prove your innocence, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? It's not why should I? Why wouldn't you? So listen, if Conor thinks there's a way forward for him to carry on with his boxing career, without having to deal with the British boxing board of control, that's down to Conor. But in reality, that interview didn't do him any favors. It didn't, man. I just thought, Conor, I love you to death. It didn't do you any favors. I'm telling you, it just reminded me of Prince Andrew all over again. I'm like, yo, someone drag him out of there, get him off there. So I just think it just didn't do him. It didn't do him any good. And why would he go on that? Why would he be advised to go on that? You know, and sometimes in this whole debacle or this whole situation, there's more of a cloud him finally saying, no, I didn't, than actually saying, you know what, I've done it. Let me take my ban. I'll get a bit of shit for a few fights, and then we'll move on. It's happened with Canelo. It's happened with Fury. It's happened with White. It's happened with various fighters. Then move on, get him with your career, because this is a crucial time where he could hold the ban down, you know, and he'd be in the gym. Can you imagine the amount of money he's spending on legals? Can you imagine the amount of money, true or false, you know, guilty or not? He's doing more damage than he is good to himself.
Johnny, I will counter that by saying that in Conor Benn's view, opinion, Conor Benn obviously believes he's 100% innocent of anything being accused of him. So let's just say that is the case. Why should he accept that, Johnny? Let's just say, for example,
because I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Why should he accept whatever?
Shall I tell you why? Shall I tell you why? Because he cannot prove he's innocent. That's the problem. If he can prove it, and if this 220 whatever page document proves he's innocent, then I'd say, you know what? No, why should I accept it? But there's nothing that says he's innocent. There's nothing there at all that says he's innocent, and that's where the issue lies. Or I'm led to believe there's nothing there that says he's innocent. So, and if it was there, then I'd say, then I agree with you. I'd say, no, I ain't proving that to you. I got my evidence right there. But why would you spend all this money on trying to prove your innocence and then not show people? You know you're innocent. You know you haven't done nothing. You know, so you've got all. You're not going to show it people. You know you've not done anything. So you spend all this money to get all these forensic tests and everything to defend yourself, and when you get it, you don't use it. You don't use it. I wouldn't have done it if I knew I didn't do it. I'm like, I ain't doing that. I ain't done nothing. So now you spent all the money to get this evidence to not show the evidence.
Johnny, do you think the WBC have complicated the situation further with their statement that they put out regarding the
WBC have historically done things that haven't done them any justice as an organisation, as a sanctioning body, and it's not just about this situation. It's about, I can remember, was it Gomalo Jones? I boxed him. I think he failed his drug test. Forgive me if I'm wrong. 3 or 4 times. He did it on one of my fights, and my man got a black eye. You know, he's like moved on. I just think the WBC have made decisions in the past where they've taken the heat. The heat's gone, and it's all done and dusted, and then they've got on with it. So have the WBC done themselves any favors? No, they haven't. But historically, they keep doing things like that. So again, whose fault is it? Who do you blame? Do you blame the WBC saying, "No, we'll accept you, we'll sanction your fights"? So what could happen now is, if the WBC is saying we'll sanction your fights, I wonder if Conor can still apply for his British license again, do his ban here in the UK, but boxing for the WBC. And then for how many years it is, and how many years the ban is, and say, well, I've done my ban in Britain. I've not fought on the British boxing board of control for 2 or 3 years to come my ban, so I can come back again. But the rest of the time, I've been boxing for the WBC. Will that be the case? I don't know, but it's hard, man. It's hard to actually. It's just hard, and that's what I'm saying. I've avoided being in a situation because I don't want to throw the kid under the bus. But unfortunately, if this the interview did not tell us anything. The interview did not say this boy is innocent. And if you're going to spend that much money on a 220 odd page document to fight this, and then he's saying, now I'm not showing you. If you know you're innocent, why did you bother with the document? And you're not going to show it to anybody. It don't make sense. It don't make sense at all, because if you know he's innocent, it's like, I ain't doing it. I'm not even doing that. I'm not even spending money to find this out, not to show you. It just makes it look worse.
When I spoke to Eddie Hearn a few days ago, earlier last week, when this statement from the WBC came out, I think one thing is clear, obviously, for the benefit of everyone, Conor Benn, Eddie Hearn, even Chris Eubank to a certain degree. I mean, we saw them two going at it on social media today again. But at some point, we've got to kind of look to move forward from this, because, I mean, Conor Benn's obviously still going through this situation, whether it's with the board, the legal standpoint on this, etc., etc. But at some point, like, it looks like Conor Benn is going to fight in around 3 or 4 months. So at some point, this has got to be kind of, we have to look to move forward. Everyone has to, not us. As
and listen, and that's the case. It's like
involved. Yeah.
So it's like now when Canelo boxes, even though you might watch him fight, there's that cloud over him to say that guy, he's a drug cheat, he's failed a drug test. So reputation wise, that's there, but he's still going and fighting, and people are going to watch him. Conor Benn is an exciting young talent that failed a drug test. So fans will watch him, even though they may have something to moan about, even though that cloud will still be there. And it may drift off into the far distant, but people will always be there for a few fights down the line. So he should just basically just get on with his career. I just find it near on impossible to fight his corner. I find it hard to fight his. I'm struggling to fight his corner. So we can only speculate on facts. You know him better than I do, and I've always shouted from the rooftops about Conor, and so it's very hard. I'll tell you what should happen moving forward. The British Boxing Board could then do this. Conor Benn's fighting, or not just Conor, anybody fighting for a title fight, whatever, where you're going to be drug tested. The boxing board could say, right, KUGAN, you're fighting. Who's in your team? Blah, 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 blah. Right, KUGAN, if you fail the drug test in your next fight, you, as well as your whole team, are banned from boxing for 3 or 4 years. I bet you then, and only then, members of your team, because they've still got to work with everybody else, so members of your team will think, "Oh, back up, yo, I'm backing out of this." Because right now, the only name you're hearing is Conor Benn. And regardless of what's going on and what's finding in his system, I don't think Conor Benn is smart enough to take this and know what he's taking, why he's taking it. So he's had so if this is the case, somebody has advised him to do it this way, do it that way, do it this way. And the only name you're hearing is Conor Benn. So if the board introduced something to say, right, then you know what? This guy's skirted around this. So anybody in your team, I want the names of 5 people in your team, blah, 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 blah. Now, all of these people are at your mercy. You're the coach, you're the seconds, you're the this, you're the that. If he fails his drug test, less people are going to turn a blind eye. Less people are like going to say, no, I don't know nothing about it. Because then their career is on the line. Then their earnings out of boxing is on the line. That's what should happen.
That's going to cause a lot of collateral damage in that, because there's going to be people involved in that.
Yeah, but you're not. But you're
no clue about anything.
No, listen to me. No, listen to me. Because if you're performing in the ring, and your performance is up, down, and you now know I'm in your tight circle, and you now know if you're cheating, If you're taking illegal substances, if you get done, you've not just let down your fans, you've let down your close teammates. You're going to be less inclined to do it, and your team are going to be less inclined to cover your back. They'd say, "Yo, I'm out of this. I'm not hands up. I'm out of this," because I do not believe, worst case scenario, Conor Benn knew exactly what was taking, why he was taking it. He would have to have been advised. And the only name we're hearing is Conor Benn. And that's the problem. And that's no matter what happens, the only name we're hearing is Conor Benn. And he's the only one that's got the blame. Yes, he's a spearhead, but he has been advised. He has said, boom, 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 boom. And now look what's happening. Conor Benn's life is in tatters. He's talking about how his mental health was affected. He's talking about how it affected his family and his integrity. But who's talking about anybody else around him? Who's talking about the team that worked with him? Why are they not under the spotlight? Why are they not getting it? And why would Eddie get it? Eddie was doing his job to promote his boy, to push his boy. Eddie's not in the gym. So it's basically everybody else around Conor that's in that team. They should also stand accountable, and their face should be at the front to say, "You are your team, Conor Benn, that failed a drug test. So if he failed and got banned, you all get a ban." So that's what could happen moving forward, because I don't believe Conor Benn has the, and I'm not saying he's stupid, I'm just saying he's not got the intelligence to put himself on a program to take this to cover that and that to cover this. And I think people in his circle, therefore, they'll know, thinking, I can see a difference here. I don't like this. This might affect my career. I'm stepping out. Unless people will be happy to turn a blind eye. That's what should happen going forward.
Yeah, I think moving forward.
In regards to...
Yeah, I'm not sure that will happen, but I'm saying moving
Why?
forward.
Why shouldn't it happen? Why shouldn't it happen?
Why shouldn't it happen? Johnny, do you know, like, when... I'll tell you a reason why it probably wouldn't happen, is that it's not always clear unless it's kind of put down in some kind of official format of who's involved in the team. And I'm not using Conor Benn as a specific example. If a fighter's fighting, yeah, how do you know actually who's involved in his camp? Forget the people that are there and fight.
Okay, so when you get in the corner,
so hang on,
you've got to say,
Johnny, hold on. The people in the corner, right, are the people in the corner. That doesn't necessarily mean that there weren't other people.
No, I'm giving you an example. I'm giving you an example. When you go in the corner, the officials, or when you get in your corner passes, right, who's your corner man? Him. So you've got names. When you've got a fight coming up, and right, who's in your team? Who's the key members of your camp? Him. It can still be done. So there's no, like, you can't tell who's there, because that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You can still say, no, you're in my team. I know when I fought who was in my team.
Yes.
I knew Brennan was there, I knew Dominic was there. And so those two were there. I knew John Ingle was there.
Okay.
So they were in my team.
Yes, correct. But what I'm saying to you is there would be people involved in a fighter's team that might not even be there on fight night. Is that fair to say? All fighters. I'm just saying to you, there could be a situation in what you're saying where there's the fighter, the trainer, a cutsman, a nutrition, whoever's in the corner, fair enough. But that doesn't represent everyone that's been involved in that camp.
No, not at all. But you know, when you're training, you're in the train. You've got your trainer. You've got one or two other people that are keeping an eye on the training. That works, this, and that works. You can get the outer people that are working in the office or doing what they're doing. The ones that are hands-on, the ones that are on the front line with the fighter, that is just the ones that are getting in to work within the corner. They're the ones whose name you give to say, this is my team. So therefore, they want to be there in the glory when he's fighting and winning. And yes, I'm there. But all of a sudden, shit's hit the fan. Everybody just disappears in the shadows. That ain't fair. It's not fair. So therefore, everybody that's in the team, whatever it is, you're on my team. So if I fail, I don't suffer the consequences. We all do. And there'll be less people that would be happily turn a blind eye to say, no, I didn't see nothing. They'd have a step out of the team, or they'd say something. And if you've got that responsibility of, if you're taking substances that could affect their livelihood, you're going to think twice about it.
Is that an easier solution to what even Conor Benn said?
Yes. No. Because again, sometimes you can take something and not realize you're taking it. Right. So you can take something and not realize it's an illegal substance. So what, like for instance, you can take, I don't know, there might be substances in night nurse or something like that. I don't know. That is on the bad substance list. You'd be like, yo, no, I got a call. I didn't do this. So these things can happen. So therefore, you've got a warning. Right, you've got a ban. You do it again, then you've got a ban. You're a prolific cheat. You've got a ban. So I understand you can't just throw people completely on the bus and say, right, you're out for life. But when someone's cheating, that's just how you roll.
Johnny, do you not think by banning someone for failing a test, yeah? And like I said, a lot of it's subjective. A lot of the fighters that have failed tests in this country, like people's opinions of whether they actually meant it or not, etc., like over the last few years, right? But do you not think that sends the strongest message to someone that if you fail a test and you are responsible for what goes in your body and you are barred, because this is what a lot of people have called for. I've seen it more so in the last few weeks than I have done.
But that's what I'm saying. That's cool. That's what I'm saying to you. I understand what you're saying. I understand sometimes. I know ignorance is no excuse for the law, but sometimes this shit can happen. So you get banned for a certain amount of time, not for life straight away. If you do it again, you're out for life. You're gone. You're gone. You do it the first time, you get banned.
I agree with that. I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying that the call for people to be banned once they've failed a test
for life.
That's been spoken about a lot, but listen, I know there's grey areas to that.
I don't agree with that.
You're addressing the grey areas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't agree with that because mistakes can happen. I don't agree with that, and that's just how it is. So I think you get your first ban, you do it again, go and see you.
Look, the last one I'll say on this though, with knowing only what we've done with this Conor Benn situation, is it fair that Conor Benn has been kind of hung out to dry, convicted already before we kind of know as outsiders the complete picture? Because there's no way in hell's earth that we know the complete picture to this, and it's
we don't. No, we don't.
But we don't know the whole picture to this.
Cool, and I get that.
To hang him
already. I get that. I get that. And Conor Benn has been in a position to prove his innocence, and so this big Piers Morgan interview. Loads of people watched it because they think, right, because he's got some fans that have got his back, and they're thinking, shit, man, you've not really told me anything there. So it was for Conor Benn. He's done his investigations. He's done all he's done stuff to say, I'm innocent and I can prove it, but I'm not going to show you what I can prove. So is that more detrimental to his case or what? He's not done himself any favours. He'd been better off just keeping his mouth shut and taking the ban. Take the ban and say, right, you know what? I know I didn't do it, but this is what I do. I'm a fighter. This is because one way or another, trust me, if Conor Benn carries on boxing, he will be boxing with a British Boxing Board of Control license eventually. If he decides to carry on doing this as a career, eventually. So it's how he gets through all this hullabaloo, how he gets through it all.
Well, it's an ever-changing situation, so maybe something happens tomorrow, the day after, next week. We'll have to wait and see.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.